Okay guys, so today I'm going to talk to you guys about crankbaits. Um, there's a lot of different types of crankbaits. As you can see, I have really tiny ones like these, and I have some bigger ones. This is my craw. They come in all different types of colorways, uh, and sizes and depths. So I have, this is a 5 to 8 foot craw. Then they can get bigger and they'll be the same depth. Like this one, this is a little bigger than the other two, but it's the same depth. It's only 5 to 6 feet. Then I have I have a lot of different ones, and I have them all in the same box, which kind of makes them a mess because all the hooks get intertwined, which isn't that great, and I get poked a lot. And I have this shad color crankbait. This is about 12 to 15 feet. It dives pretty deep. I only use about 2 different brands of crankbaits. I've tried a third, but I didn't really like them because I didn't like the weight they had to them. The main ones I use are Strike King, which I got these 3 from, and the little one, and my KVD crankbaits, which is this one. I got this one from it. It's bigger. They're bigger bodies, but they're smaller. They don't dive as deep. KVD has more variety. They go anywhere from 3 to 5 to 8 to 10. I also have a crankbait that only dives about a foot. This one only dives about a foot. I don't use it much. I never really had much success with it, so I never used it. A lot of people think that the bigger the crankbait you go, you'll catch bigger fish, but I haven't really found that to be true. I actually caught more fish and bigger fish with this little bitsy bug looking crankbait. It's probably my most successful one, along with the red craw I have. These two catch me the most fish. I've tried H2O Express crankbaits, which is this one and this one, but I don't really like them. They don't really have a lot of weight to them, so I can't really cast them that far. But they have different types of crankbaits in H2O Express. I have this chrome one, chrome colored, which I actually have had a lot of success with. It's just not personally my favorite one. When it comes to a lake like this where I'm not sure what to use, I usually use my tiny ones to see how small, how the size of the fish varies. And it'll give me like some panfish too. I've caught tilapia off the little ones. I've caught bluegill, crappie off the little ones because they're smaller fish, so they're attracted to the smaller looking ones, which is understandable. Uh, I will get a lot of like baby fish with them that'll just catch onto the hooks, and they won't look like much, but once you reel it in and you look at the bait, they'll just be stuck to the end. But yeah, but another thing which I've learned is if you're having a lot of problems like I do with my crankbaits getting all stuck together, one of the things you can do is grab a hair tie or those little plastic rubber bands that they sell like at Walmart or Family Dollar, and just tie it around the hooks. Just tie it around the hooks a couple times. And once you do that, the hooks will stay together and they won't get stuck anymore in your boxes that you have them in. It's an easy way to get them to stop sticking together, and you won't be poking yourself all the time like I do. To fish a crankbait, you just reel it in and let the crankbait dive and attract the fish with it shakes in the water when you're reeling in, so that attracts fish too, but it'll dive to the depths of the fish and it'll just pass by them and they'll bite it out of reaction. There are different things some people do when they're fishing crankbaits though. They'll dip the rod in the water, which gives it maybe like another foot or two, depending how far you dip it in. Because sometimes you buy a crankbait that's maybe 3 to 5 feet, but you're in a place that you find out later is actually deeper. It's probably maybe 6 to 7 to 8 feet deep. So if you dip the rod in, it'll give you like an extra foot or two. And if you take a knee when you're reeling, and you can put your rod into the water more and give it some more depth. So it's really just what you're willing to do. In case you don't want to buy a whole nother crankbait that might be too deep for what you need it to be. It's all just up to you really, and what you feel like doing. But crankbaits are my second most successful bait to use when going for bass or crappie or different panfish. Behind chatterbaits, chatterbaits are most successful. If you want any information on chatterbaits, check out my other video I made. That one, I say some pretty good stuff about chatterbaits in that one. But crankbaits, I like using crankbaits. They're a good go-to in case you're not really sure what to use. Crankbaits will be there. They dive to the depth of the fish, so it's not really you're not really doing much. The fish are just attracted to something that's moving around it, and they'll bite it out of reaction. It's their instinct just to attack. And no, even if you get like tiny crankbaits like the one I'm using right now, you'll still get some pretty good sized fish. Cause fish are just they're just hungry, so they just want something to eat, something easy. So they see something moving in the water. You might get lucky and get a bass, a small bass, medium sized bass. They're not really too picky. Sometimes you'll have some fish that only go after the bigger crankbaits. So all you have to do is just switch it up, grab a bigger one. But be careful, you don't want to have a crankbait that dives too deep and you're going to be rubbing the floor the whole time. Because you're never going to catch anything. You're going to be hung up all the time and you're just going to be getting twigs. It's not fun. You won't be catching any fish because you'll just be scraping the ground. So just watch out for how deep the place you're fishing is. Use different sizes of crankbaits. They all work. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. So it's just up to you to find out what type of crankbait you want to use. And well, that's all I have to say about crankbaits, guys. So just try them out, see what you like, see if you have any success with them, and keep fishing, guys. See you later.